So today, I'll show you how to make kefir water. Water kefir water. I've only done this a few times, so I'm learning, but this is what I have found to be successful so far from all the other YouTube creators that I've watched. I fill up about 1,000 milliliters of water, or about a quart or so. Which is approximately two 16.9 ounce bottles. It's recommended you use spring water because it doesn't have the chlorine and other antibacterial agents in the water, and it also has minerals dissolved in it. So a quarter cup of demerara sugar, or raw sugar in the raw, or even brown sugar. Different sugars do different things. I use palm sugar, turbinado sugar. Any of those will work, but approximately a quarter cup. It's not really recommended, although you could do it, to use white sugar, plain white cane sugar, because it doesn't have the nutrients in it that they need to grow really well. Molasses, just a pinch. Let me get a measuring spoon here. Just a wee bit, maybe like a quarter teaspoon or something. Not much. Put that in there. Also for the minerals in it. And then lick off the spoon if you like molasses. Okay. Ooh, strong. Okay. Then they recommend about an eighth of a teaspoon or so or a pinch of baking soda because of the added minerals, and it counteracts the acidity. But they need minerals to grow their crystal structure, I guess. So that's what helps them do that. Here are the crystals. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully you can. You can see if you can. Yeah. So they're just crystals. Oop. Kind of like Jello, sort of, but separate. Not one glob. It's separate crystals, like polymers, actually, similar to polymers. And they multiply. So they'll keep, as you keep making this, after this batch, they'll actually multiply more. I'm not going to use all of these because that's too much for this small amount. This water, this is one I've already made. Filtered them out, separated them, and I'm making another batch. This will be in the next video. Just mix up the sugars and baking soda. Dissolve it in there. The yeast eat the sugar and create carbon dioxide, like yeast, basically. And it will make the iced tea or whatever you're making later on for the second ferment. This is considered the first fermentation. It'll make it like soda. Okay, I think that's dissolved pretty well. Let's see. Yeah. Sugar in the raw and demerara sugar is a little bit harder to dissolve because it's larger crystals, so it takes longer to dissolve them. Okay. And then as far as kefir crystals go, I don't know if there's any certain amount you put in there, but I put in about probably 3/4 cup or half cup in there. You can use less. I don't know I've used all different amounts. I've used the whole thing in a larger size. It worked fine. I don't know what to do. I don't think there's any difference. I think the more you use of these crystals, the faster it will process the sugar in here. So you might want to keep an eye on it. as far as sweeten it. You can actually taste this during this process, see how sweet it is. If you run out of, if it's not sweet at all, then you might want to use the water for your second fermentation, because if you leave it in there too long, they run out of food, and when we all run out of food, we die. So kind of the same idea. Pour about half in. That's probably pretty good. A little more. And these I will feed to my chickens, because I don't need that many. They'll make more in here. This will be like 1.5 times the amount of grains, Kefir grains, or Kefir crystals. So I won't need to, I can give them away to friends, family, people that want to try them, or feed them to animals. Then you put a non-watertight or airtight seal on. I just use a ring and a paper towel. Screw that on so it vents. And you wait about 3 days, 2 to 3 days, for this to ferment. These will start floating, the crystals will start floating up to the top. And they will, some will float, some will stay sinking. You'll notice some bubbles coming up and stuff. You'll notice some going up, some going down. All that's a good sign. If it's doing that, it's working. If it's not doing anything, then that's not a good sign. You might want to change your crystals. That might have been dead. So that's it. A little close up of that, maybe. This is just Kefir water, Kefir water. You use this to, after this ferments, you would use this to make, I have some, this is lemon tea with sugar in it, so that the yeast has something to process to make it fizzy or carbonated. And I'll be showing this later on. These also take about 3 days, 2 to 3 days, depends on how much sugar you have in there. You don't need to burp this, obviously, because it has a porous top. But I'll cover all the other stuff in the other video. So I think that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And I recommend watching other people's videos on Facebook and YouTube. Joseph Weissman is a chef. He's a little bit cheeky, but I really like his style and his information he has in there. He has a really good video on this that I liked. You can look him up. Thanks a lot. I'll try to send a link in there, but I'll try to put a link in the comments for that video. Thanks a lot, and have a great day. One thing I should mention on that is storage after you've finished making your first fermentation. Store that in an area where it does not get any direct sun. And also, the hotter the area, say next to a coffee maker or next to, I don't know, whatever's cold, if you have a cold kitchen or you're in a different climate, heat will make the process go faster. If it's too hot, think like 130 degrees, which most houses don't have to worry about that too much unless it's next to a stove. That will kill the grains. And cooler temperatures obviously will slow it down quite a bit. So you want to keep it around room temperature. That's fine. Out of the sun, and that will keep it fermenting at a nice pace in about 3 days, 2 to 3 days.